Hello, you are listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, the best podcast you can find on this side of the multiverse. I am your host, Adrian, and today I will be talking about Ghostface joining the Mortal Kombat universe and more. If you like the video, leave a like and comment down below on what games, books, comics, or anything else you think that I might enjoy that I could talk about here for the podcast. I just want to experience as many things as I can and talk about it week by week here on the show. So, thank you all for joining, and let us get this episode started. I hope everybody's having a nice and lovely Friday right now as I record, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner, so happy holidays for everyone celebrating. I hope you all spend time with your friends and your family and those that you really care about. The holiday season is really a time for like us to remember that uh we're together in this, like just everything, as a family or as a species, and just celebrate each other. I think it's good times with holidays and events and stuff. Speaking of events, I went over to the city, New York City, the other day to see a metal band that I've seen before. They're called Sunn, Sunn, and they are pretty great. I don't usually listen to them like on my own, but in the two times I've seen them live, they are my favorite sets that I've ever seen, my favorite shows of all time, just because the atmosphere that I felt from them, the kind of vibes that they've given off throughout their shows has been so great. I saw them in Philly, and they had this like like glass or metal like woman as part of their show set piece, and with the lasers and stuff, that was really awesome. With this show, which was at the Lincoln Center, I don't remember where it was in PA, but the Lincoln Center one was really great. This is a seated area, and the sound, it was just like two guitarists, and the sound, you can see like the smoke particles like separate from the vibrations, and your seat is shaking, your clothes are shaking, you're shaking. That was a really good time. I didn't even use earplugs. I'm not a big earplug guy. I almost never need them. If there's ever a time with like my ear ringing or like being like sensitive to sound, just like usually dissipates by like a few hours after shows. But for this show, it hasn't been any kind of long term feel with that way, and that was pretty nice. So they're more of like a drone metal, doom metal kind of band, but I like them for the sound that they make, and they're really fun. So seeing them live has been really great. And I kind of hope to see more shows in the future, like live shows, just to more talk about them here on the show, and then talk about more music, stuff like that. I think that'd be really fun. Um, and for this week, I definitely haven't talked about this in a long time, I don't think, and that's the Elder Scrolls game that me and my friends are doing. I like tabletop RPGs, and I tried to implement them when I can within time. I would like to DM a little more, but it is what it is. So I've been playing with my friends a Elder Scrolls game set in like the 5e universe for D&D, right? And my character, a monk, Khajiit. His name is Jajato, right? We're about level 7 right now, and he just finished like his personal quest basically, right? So that's pretty nice. And this is a pretty good time for like reflection for like anybody making characters, or like where you want to go with like your character, because I think like to a degree everyone has like some kind of idea of where they want the character to start out and then go when they make an RPG or make any kind of character. And for me, I was like expecting maybe Jidao to die or die during his quest, or in the event that it did happen, I already had a backup character made. And this character is like an orc, so I might want to play like an orc blacksmith later. That might be pretty cool. So I've been looking at lore for that. And yeah, it's just been really fun experiencing the Elder Scrolls world with like my friends and stuff in that really cool universe, even if it's just like, in the world of the mind, right? And we could play the MMO. That's like time, that's money, and it's not as much money as like it used to be for like MMOs, but like you still got to spend money just to even like play the game and all that kind of stuff. But with like D&D online stuff, that stuff is really accessible. So I like that. That's really great. And we've been to a good portion of the continents right now. We've been to Cyrodiil, we've been to Skyrim, Elsewhere, and Valenwood. We're leaving Valenwood now, so who knows where we're gonna go next? Most likely, Blackmore is just seeming like the future destination, Blackmore. So, I definitely talking about the Elder Scrolls game here on the show. I definitely think it's nice to get that in there, especially with like Elder Scrolls on the looming horizon, right? There's a lot of stuff going on with the gaming industry. We can definitely talk about that, right? So like Microsoft has obviously had Elder Scrolls for a while, and Fallout is like behind them, Starfield's behind them. So where are they going to go with Elder Scrolls? And I think after getting games like Veilguard and like Halo Infinite and like more Microsoft specific, like Redguard or Redfall kind of stuff, I'm not too hopeful for Elder Scrolls. I think it's going to be very hard for them to really make the Elder Scrolls 6 feel like it's the next game, that kind of next level thing. That might be a little harder for them to achieve. I think even, BioWare failed that to a degree, and 343 Industries did that, who's now Halo Studios. I just think that when you look back at your past catalog for video games and you start seeing that you're missing core mechanics, core features, things that brought people to the game anyway, just things that kind of made the game really special. More specifically, like Halo Infinite doesn't have the dual wielding anymore, or as far as I know, they may not have Forge anymore. So like Dragon Age doesn't have a lot of the choices. Your choices can't carry over. I think like those fundamental parts of the video game need to remain. And I think it's kind of a disservice to be like, oh well, we're just gonna cut corners and make this a little more easier, streamlined for everybody. And it's just like, the vibes weren't there for those games. And I don't know if Elder Scrolls can really have that check with current situations with the gaming industry. Microsoft and them handling certain IPs and what they've done. Now, I was a big fan of Starfield. I think what it offered was still pretty good. I would put it as like a C tier game, especially compared to like other Bethesda games. But Elder Scrolls is like an established world. Starfield is like fully original to a degree, right? So I don't really get like I wouldn't nitpick too much on how like the lore of each other compares to each other. I would kind of compare the experience itself, and I think that the fantasy world definitely hits for them, and the open world uh kind of space adventure was a little bit of hit of a miss, right? It was like they kind of played too much into the open worldness of it with planets having like basically copy paste the same kind of facilities, enemies, no real actual like depth or difference to them versus any other planet, and like how it's like bare and it's kind of realistic to where our world is like, and that's kind of fair. But especially like in the future, where like you're talking about with like all these wars and stuff like that, you kind of would feel like the galaxy or the universe that the Starfield is in would be a little more fleshed out or filled, to a degree. I think they could have done a little better with that, but there is something that I should talk about because it's pretty prominent now. I think everybody's talking about it. It's the Game Awards and the nominees for all the Game Awards. Now, I haven't gotten a chance to vote for the Game Awards stuff yet. I could probably do that right now as we record the podcast. So I have it up here, and I'll talk about the list, right? So I do not think in any way, shape, or form that a DLC for a game that came out 2 years ago should be Game of the Year. Like that, I think that's flat out just pretty awful. Even to the same side, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. As much as I love it, as much as I think it's a really great remake, it's certainly a remake. I think that because the fact that it had that 20-year gap between iterations, right? 20 plus years, it shouldn't have that same kind of degree because it's just mostly the same story besides what you want to consider the meta ofness of it. It's basically the same story, and I think those two should be flat out just crossed off. Now, I didn't play Astrobot. I loved Balatro, and I'm still doing Metaphor Fantasio and Black with Wukong, but my personal vote, ooh, I'm gonna have to go with Black with Wukong. I mean, that's a personal, real pick for me for Game of the Year, right? This to me is like the year of Dragon Ball manga specifically, right? So like Akira Toriyama, he passed, and his inspiration for Dragon Ball was um the tale Journey to the West, right? The Chinese tales Journey to the West, and we read the Dragon Ball manga, and doing that experience this year, that's just been really special to me. And I've been like blessed to have that kind of experience and be able to like even have like those kind of stars align just for this year specifically. I mean, I wouldn't have read Journey to the West if it wasn't for Akira Toriyama dying. I wouldn't have read Dragon Ball um initially if it wasn't for him passing. I don't think I don't remember why I initially started reading it early in the year, but back with Wukong came out, and it's just been so. so great this year, for a lot of different reasons. And for me, that's just why it's game of the year. That's definitely more of a biased reason, but even so, like I think it's great fundamentally. It's a great action game. As much as Metaphor even Tazio, I think is great for its story and art and everything. It's Black Myth Wukong all the way. Best game direction, I would probably specifically say Metaphor Tazio. I think it's much more of a like a metaphor piece. We can kind of relate a little more to this rather than a Monkey King. But overall, both great games. I'm loving both of them. So like the Game Awards are arbitrary, they're fake, they're produced by people who probably don't even play the game that they're voting on. So like who cares, right? I'm here clicking a button on the screen and thinking that like it really matters. But best narrative, I would overall specifically say out of all the games I played, it has to be Metaphor. Like even if it's like told through the RPG retech style, it's just a great narrative overall, at least to me compared to whatever else is on the screen for the voting stuff. I just, all that. Now, best art direction, I'd probably specifically say maybe Metaphor Fantasio. Uh, I'm not an artist. I don't like to be speculative on that. It's just like I can't draw or make anything like that, so I just look at whatever I think is best. Like the technicalities of it is really not my degree. Score and music, out of the games I've played, I'd probably say it's Metaphor Fantasio. Certainly, it definitely beats a Rebirths, in my opinion. I'm liking the jams and Metaphor a little more. Audio design, I didn't really, I wouldn't even know what to say about that because I only played one of these games. It's just Final Fantasy. Uh, can I skip? No. All right. Well, Final Fantasy gets my vote. That's just what it is. Performance, ooh, uh, I'm gonna have to give it to Senua's Saga because I know that like that actress, that like her facial expressions are fully in it and all that stuff like that. I think that's where it's at. Uh, Innovation and accessibility, the Dragon Age. I mean maybe it should be deserved. But in my opinion, maybe it's probably going to be, Diablo. I think the Diablo formula with like making it a faux MMO is decent, and maybe they have other accessibility things for like um disabled people and stuff, and I hope that they feel like that the game is being able to have them play it to a degree. But to me, the accessibility comes with like Diablo has been such a mainstream game, and it's been kind of very specific with its gameplay. The MMO scene kind of adds the onlineness to it that I think it's kind of always needed. That's just specifically how I would like describe it. For what I would consider accessible, like now it's like more accessible to like everybody. You can all play with everybody, not just specifically somebody with a handicap or anything like that. Games with impact, I really wouldn't know. I can only really say probably Senua Saga. I know that has a very strong mental health image, like a message. So that's all I can really say. Ongoing, I'd it's gonna have to be Final Fantasy 14 for me. We're gonna play that next month again. That's gonna have to be it. Community support game. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. We're probably gonna go with things like No Man's Sky because that game came out long ago and it's still kicking. And independent game, I'm gonna go with Balatro. I loved that game. So fun. Debut indie game out of the ones I played, Balatro, please. And there's a lot of things I think I want to talk about. I'm gonna vote mobile game as Balatro as well. But we're just gonna move on. I'm not gonna vote for all of it. Like about the VR stuff, I'm not really even playing VR stuff. And then it's gonna talk about the esports people. I don't care about that. We got pretty much everything I want to talk about, for the most part. But yeah, in absolute no way, shape, or form should DLC be considered a game of the year for any reason. We were talking about before Black Myth Wukong. They are supposed to be adding a surprise this year coming up for maybe the Game Awards most likely. So, I'm hoping for maybe like just additional levels, free stuff. Don't make us pay for it. That's all I can really say. But who could say now? There was a pretty cool trailer that came out today for some kind of showcase, the MIX showcase, but it's on the IGN website or their YouTube and stuff. But it's called Don't Wake the Beast, and it's like a roguelike stealth game. It seems pretty cool. It's arcadey, it's like top down. It looks pretty awesome. It's got some cool vibes to it. It's like a dungeon crawler, so it's got like puzzles and stuff. The trailer seems really good for what it offers, and I'm pretty intrigued. I'm gonna probably keep up with it for a bit, and maybe get it when it comes out at some point because I like these like little games. You can't go wrong with like a nice little arcadey kind of style game. Not everything needs to be like some third or first person like action spectacular game. It doesn't need to always be that. I do think it's time to talk about our sponsor, Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like other energy drinks. We also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. If you use the coupon code below, you can get 10% off your order on anything like drinks, powders, apparel, portable bottles, stickers, and bags. Dubby is an energy drink powder that is produced in FDA registered and inspected facilities in the United States. And yeah, that's basically everything for the news and what happening this week and stuff like that. I try to keep it pretty mixed between, news and game news, even some like trailers or anything to talk about like personally, especially like RPG games, stuff like that. Not just what I'm doing, but like maybe how I'm interacting with the world, how I view the world. That might be a different like take for the podcast rather than just like giving my opinions on, fictional stuff. But we'll see where it goes. I think it's very interesting reflecting on myself through the podcast. It's been very fun. So now I did mention some of the games I was playing. Like we did mention that I'm still trying to play Black Myth Wukong and Metaphor Refantasio. So these games have been so fun, and while I'm still trying to beat them, right? I still got to do chapter 6 of Black Myth Wukong, and Refantasio is like taking my full attention right now. I'm gonna be full throttle with that game until I'm towards the end. I'm basically almost 100 hours in the game now. The PS4 says like about 80, and I'm restarting like some of these fights, and I'm redoing some of the stuff, and just trying to see what all the options are and what could be done, all kind of stuff, and it's been really entertaining. Loving all the different classes, the jobs. Like that's one thing about these RPG games that they never allow the job system to come back. And I love the rebirth system with like you can play all the different characters and they all have different functionalities because of their like the way the character's set up and how you make your party around them, all that kind of stuff. I think that's really fun. So that style of RPG I think is still really precious and enjoyable. So it's been really fun using like the merchant or the thief and try to use all these abilities to get an edge and stuff like that in the game. So I beat like the ogre in the forest after you get to like the underwater the water area, right? The Brilhaven, that's the name of the city, and we got Heismay, right? And we're making some of the other runners like back down from the tournament. And my public perception is like 41 now, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm super loving this game. I'm really looking forward to where it's going. I know Asmongold said he's about basically at the end, so definitely gonna try and finish that game uh, as fast as I can, and then Wukong just beat those games. And I'd like to do Final Fantasy 14 during December, go back into it, do all of that, finish Dawn Trail at the very least, and just see where that goes. And maybe play a Monster Hunter game at some point. Besides that, today I actually started the Mortal Kombat Chaos Reigns DLC, and I really enjoyed the campaign for Mortal Kombat 1, and this just seems like more of the same. Actually, I think it's a little more streamlined. You're not like flashing back and forth between characters at different like points. It's kind of just you're following mostly the sector group. If you're with Sector or Cyrax, whoever they're with, that's the group you're being with, which seems pretty cool so far out of the majority of the DLC. And I only got this DLC. I only purchased it because it comes with Ghostface, and Ghostface was a early access on Tuesday, so I got to play him during my lunch and try him out, and that was really great. And then I played him during the night, and I will say he's really fun to play. The close range attacks is pretty good. I like his run. Um, I'm not like a esport or anything, but like I like the feel for this horror character. I've been a fan of Ghostface since I was a little kid. Scream is my favorite horror franchise, and him being in the Mortal Kombat series has been, practically a dream of mine. Whenever they didn't put him in Mortal Kombat X, right, with all the other horror icons, or even Freddy Krueger in Mortal Kombat 9. So to me, this is just like a dream come true, and it's just fun to play him. I will say I'm a little disappointed over his arcade ending. I kind of feel like it doesn't feel Mortal Kombat-y. It doesn't feel like, oh, Ghostface came here and now he's doing Mortal Kombat stuff. I don't remember how the other um like horror icon tower endings for the Mortal Kombat arcades specifically were, but I would kind of feel like, maybe he would go and like kill people in a temple, or just like a bunch of monks, or maybe he'd like learn like kung fu when we see him like with like some cool costume or something. But nah, it's just like, he's just like in Johnny Cage's house, right, during like a party. I assume it's not really specifically detailed, but it's just kind of bleh. And that's my, biggest gripe about it, my biggest disappointment over Ghostface being in Mortal Kombat 1 now is it's just the arcade ending. I feel like the cutscene, the little stills just weren't, you know, as enjoyable as what I think like maybe other characters get in the game. So, but playing him has been really fun. I like playing with like the co-op characters. I'm really surprised there's not other assists in the game. As many as like the character roster, like there's like a small amount in MK1, which is pretty sad. But I haven't checked out any like Ghostface costumes or any like his other fatalities, but his animality is really fun. His brutalities are really great. Overall, I think this character is really awesome. It's been really fun getting to experience him. And that's basically about it for the games I'm playing. I did actually download some kind of phone game that's been really fun. I think I mentioned Theo Town like forever ago, but I downloaded this game where like you have like a little ant farm, and sadly I had to attack bees, and it's called Ant Colony, and it's been really fun. So that's basically it for like the games I've been playing. This little phone game, and Mortal Kombat and Metaphor. That's basically it until like December. So hopefully I finish those games pretty early. What I did get a chance to do was read the second issue of Absolute Batman, and it's called The Zoo, and it kind of goes into detail of like Batman's origin with the Bat Fear and all that kind of stuff. Same thing we've always seen. This time it's like a zoo, and it's Jim Gordon and his wife who find him and they raise him, right? Because his parents like die by that point, right? He's actually still talking to Joe Hill for some reason, or Joe Chill, and he uses like acid against people, which is crazy. Barbara Gordon's a cop now. I'm really enjoying this, right? Bruce plays cards with like the Rogues Gallery, which is crazy, and he has a even crazier Batmobile, right? His Batmobile's giant. It's so cool. So I'm having a lot of fun with the Absolute comics. I'm super excited to see where they go. It's been super enjoyable. The art is crazy for these, and I like the aspect of Batman just being like this builder of the city, this dude who he's just like a blue collar construction worker to a degree, like a homeless construction worker. I like that. Um, and that's about it. So like the Superman comic didn't come out. That's like December, and I did check out Absolute Wonder Woman number one, which is really just as good as well. Not as like, I guess, class based or centric as maybe the Batman or Superman kind of lead on to. I'm not super familiar with Themyscira or even wherever Hades is from, Hell, right? Like that's where it is. So I'm not really super familiar with how maybe those like political or whatever systems or like caste systems work, right? With like their lineage. But Wonder Woman is like there's no more Amazons, right? Like the Amazons are gone, and apparently some deal is made, so she gets to live in hell, um, and is raised as like a vessel of hell, like still kind of a superhero. It's kind of odd. I'm not super caught up like any kind of Wonder Woman stuff, but like I liked the first Batman and Superman. I was like, I might as well give Wonder Woman a try, and I'm still liking it. It's really cool. She has like something with this skeleton Pegasus, which is really awesome. And not really sure so much about her. We don't really get much like focus on like her perspective from what I remember from the comic. But I'm definitely gonna try and read it throughout its like iterations just to round it out all out and see if they connect in the end or anything like that. But I'm definitely a little more interested in the Batman Superman comics. Those have been really more like interesting to me, right? So those are pretty cool comics. Also, she has a red lasso of truth. That's badass. It's so cool. Look at that. It's like some cool like Red Lantern kind of stuff. I don't know if the powers are any different, but this first one was really cool. Loving it. So looking out for that. And so yeah, it's nice to talk about like more like American comics because obviously this is the year of manga, and I've been reading a ton of manga, even to the point where like I kind of forget not to read uh right to left with the absolute comics. I kind of forget. So like I gotta like catch myself when I do that initially. So yeah, we've been reading manga. Hunter x Hunter. We are at chapter 150 or so. We're in the Green Island arc, and I gotta say, I don't remember jack shit about this arc because I don't know they was basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Zat's Bell, right? I didn't know they pulled out cards and put them in books and used them as like spells and shit. Awesome, awesome, and this is still Hunter x Hunter, so like once Gong and Killua get somewhere, they gotta earn money and they do a task to earn money, and then they train for a bit, and then like some villain pops up out of nowhere. That's basically how it's gone so far for these last few chapters, right? Yeah, things are heating up within the manga itself, right? A lot of the cards are like already taken. So now that Killua has returned after, you know, joining the Hunters test again, right? Because he lost or failed. So now they're back. That's basically where it is, and they're training. So it's been really fun. I'm excited to see where it goes, where like what the Phantom Troop is doing about getting into the island now that they're playing the game like properly, and what was like Hisoka using Crollo's name and like the healer, right? The I think they're looking for a healer. It's an exorcist. An exorcist is what they're looking for, and that's basically where we are in the manga. It's been pretty great. So also, I mentioned it just now, Zatspell, that's where we're moving as well. We're at chapter 50 as well. Oh, I'm sorry, 150. I try to keep them pretty even for these two runs because I'm enjoying both of them. This one is full of so many like really great moments between the heroes and then the actual villains because the villains, some of them they don't want to fight or they're fighting for like really the wrong reasons. Like with Zophis bringing back the like the turn to stone demons from before. They're like basically brainwashed with the humans, so they can't really fight for themselves. And they're also fighting that like big giant beast thing in the tower, trying to like break the crystal. That's basically it, right? And it's been really fun. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm remembering a little bit, like this kind of fight seems very familiar. And Sherry and her demon is currently fighting Zophis, which is pretty cool, right? Trying to find her friend's location, right? They're still trying to find her, which is pretty awesome. Brago, and yeah, it's just been really great. Um, so we do have to wrap up soon, so I guess we'll do like a quick last few minutes, just to stay on manga, right? So I know that Berserk chapter 379 came out. I'm gonna read that. I didn't get a chance to do that today, as much as I tried to. Um, while Strawberry is still on hiatus, we're on chapter 35. And One Piece, it has chapter 1131 out, which I believe we read before. Black Clover, we're still waiting on chapters for that. Now, I would like to actually get back into Go Go Reject Ranger. So probably next week I'll be back caught up with that. I just got to find out where I last left off. It's like 120 or something. And Initial D, we'll probably just wait on that for the future. But actually in the future for the manga, I would like to maybe start Chainsaw Man properly and just get deep into it, see where it goes. I hear Nine Peaks is really good. Vinland Saga has also been like on my list so far. I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. And maybe the manga Monster. And while I was looking up manga, like I didn't know that Dual Monsters manga was basically based on Magic the Gathering. I don't remember that. I think maybe one of my older friends told me about that long ago, but I think that was really cool, a cool connection. Um, so like the last thing I want to talk about today is Dragon Ball Daima's episode 7. So, things are heating up now. We're finally making some progress, right? So Piccolo, Vegeta, and Bulma, they got picked up by Hybis, and they are now within the demon realm or getting to the demon realm. And they'll probably be there within the next few episodes, like back with Goku and Pansy and all that stuff. Pansy got her collar off. That's awesome. Supreme Kai's real name is Nahir or something like that, which is wild. Now, the Tamagami fight is coming up next episode, right? Goku's going to be fighting Tamagami number 3 for the 3-star ball, which is awesome. So, Dragon Ball's been really fun. Looking out for all this cool stuff with the future of the show. I mean, it doesn't really seem like it has like any real specific direction for changing the show. It just seems like a fun little nice romp. So, I don't know. We still got a few episodes, right? I think it's about 20 episodes, so we're looking at 13 more to release over the next like year, basically like 13 weeks. So that's pretty awesome. And um, yeah, we have a few trailers that are going to be coming out. We got some teasers actually. The Alien Earth and the Yellow Jacket season 3 teasers came out a bit ago, and you know, I'm just excited for them. So Yellow Jackets are gonna come out like February next year, and Alien Earth I think is still up in the air, as far as I know. But I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really fun watching those shows. Yellow Jackets is great. We're gonna do a rewatch of it, and then every episode of Alien we'll be watching as that comes out, of course, whenever that's gonna happen next year. So yeah, if you guys are into manga, or into comics, and you're reading along with me, or you wanna, see what I think of the things that I'm doing so far, the games, all that kind of stuff. Um, Subscribe, comment down below if there's anything you think I should look into, play, read, anything like that. It's just me doing basically me for the show. And that's basically just it. I kind of think of this as like a little time capsule or whatever. I just put down whatever I want, and it's just on YouTube forever. It's basically kind of how it is. Even if it's not doing so well, I think it's still kind of fun. I'm having fun with it. So looking forward to talking to you guys next Friday after Thanksgiving on Black Friday, and hope you all stay safe there, and looking forward to the winter holiday season. See you guys next time.